Hello, I'm Father Joe Roesch of the Marian Fathers of the Immaculate Conception. Thank you for joining us as we continue with our year-long journey reading the diary of St. Maria Faustina Kowalska from beginning to end. Today we take up from where we left off, beginning with diary entry number 981. I understood that these 2 years of interior suffering which I have undergone in submission to God's will, in order to know it better, have advanced me further in perfection than the previous 10 years. For 2 years now, I have been on the cross between heaven and earth. That is to say, I am bound by the vow of obedience and must obey the superior as God himself. And on the other hand, God makes his will known to me directly, and so my inner torture is so great that no one will either understand or imagine these spiritual sufferings. It seems to me that it would be easier to give up my life than to go again and again through 1 hour of such pain. I am not even going to write much about this matter, because one cannot describe what it is like to know God's will directly and at the same time to be perfectly obedient to the divine will as expressed indirectly through the superiors. Thanks be to God that he has given me a director. Otherwise, I would not have advanced one single step. I recently received a lovely letter from my dear 17-year-old sister Wanda. She is begging and entreating me to help her enter the convent. She is ready for any sacrifices for God. I can tell from her letter that the Lord himself is guiding her, and I rejoice in God's great mercy. Today, the majesty of God enveloped and transpierced my soul to its very depths. The greatness of God is pervading my being and flooding me, so that I am completely drowning in his greatness. I am dissolving and disappearing entirely in him, as in my life source, as in perfect life. My Jesus, I understand well that my perfection consists not in the fact that you command me to carry out these great works of yours. Oh no, the soul's greatness does not consist in this, but in great love for you. O Jesus, in the depths of my soul I understand that the greatest achievements cannot compare with one act of pure love for you. I desire to be faithful to you and to do your bidding. I am making use of my strength and my reason to carry out all you are asking of me, O Lord, but I have not the least shadow of attachment to all of this. I do it all because such is your will. All my love is drowned, not in your works, but in you yourself, O my Creator and Lord. February 25th, 1937. I prayed earnestly for a happy death on behalf of a certain soul who was suffering much. For 2 weeks she had remained between life and death. I was touched with pity for her and said to the Lord, Sweet Jesus, if the works I am undertaking for your glory are pleasing to you, then please take her to yourself and let her rest in your mercy. I was strangely reassured, and after a short while they came to tell me that the person who had been suffering so much had just died. I saw a certain priest, probably Father Sopochko, in need and prayed for him until Jesus looked upon him with kindness and granted him his strength. Today I came to know that a member of my family is offending God and is in great peril of death. This knowledge pierced my soul with such great pain that I thought I would not survive that offense against God. I begged God's pardon, but I saw his great anger. I was praying for a certain priest, probably Father Sopochko, asking God to help him in certain matters, when I suddenly saw Jesus crucified. His eyes were closed, and he was immersed in torture. I worshipped his 5 wounds, each one separately, and asked his blessing for him. Jesus gave me to know interiorly how dear that soul was to him, and I felt that grace was flowing from Jesus' wounds upon that soul, who, like Jesus, is also stretched upon the cross. My Lord and my God, you know that it is you alone whom my soul has come to love. My soul is entirely drowned in you, O Lord. Even if I did not accomplish any of the things that you have made known to me, O Lord, I would be completely at peace, because I would have done what I could. Faustina speaks here about the 2 years of interior suffering that she has endured, and she says that they have helped her to advance spiritually, but they have been very, very difficult. God guides her directly, yet because of her vow of obedience, she must submit to her superiors. Her superiors do not have the grace of enlightenment that she has, so I can imagine how many temptations she must have to second-guess her superiors, to disobey, or to become proud and vain. Staying humble keeps her on the right path. Faustina writes of receiving a letter from her 17-year-old sister, Wanda. The footnotes reveal that she did enter the convent of the Ursulines, but then she was taken to Germany for forced labor during World War II. She didn't return to Poland, but she married a man in England. He was drafted and he died in the war. She only visited Poland once more, and then she came down with a severe illness and was hospitalized and was never heard from again. It must have been very painful for her family. No doubt St. Faustina was interceding for her from heaven throughout her trials. Faustina discovers that holiness doesn't consist in accomplishing great works for the Lord, but only in loving him. Faustina intercedes on behalf of a family member in danger of death and in a state of sin. We don't know who it was, but she was very shaken by the experience. She saw God's anger. God is love. He loves us always. But if we are in a state of sin, his love is experienced as zeal and justice, and it seems like anger. Faustina intercedes for a priest invoking the 5 wounds of Jesus. This is a very, very powerful prayer. We can pray that as well. And then she writes of not being concerned with what she is able to accomplish as long as she does all that she can. The rest is up to Jesus.